Cape Town. Thanks so much for joining us. And I know it's a long time ago, but I bet you remember it like it was just the other day when you got your matric and you were one of the top achievers in the country.
Thank you so much, Peter. I remember it so well. It seems as if it was yesterday. 1991, just before the dawn of our democracy. I was one of the top students who did very well in my matric. Obviously, at the time, the schooling conditions were difficult. The environment was politically fraught. But I managed to survive my school year, my matric year. It was a time when we had stayaways, we had school boycotts, we had limited resources as well, absent teachers, and you had to do your best as a learner to survive.
So how did you get through? How did you manage despite all of these challenges? I mean, the country was literally at war. If I remember that time, people were dying at a higher rate than a lot of the periods before then.
I think it had to start with me, first and foremost, to know what were my goals, what did I want as a young person at the time. And I think that because I wanted a better life, I wanted to uplift myself and my family, and education was the only way out. I did not know what the future held for me. The only thing that I knew at the time is that I wanted to do well in my matric. And then the next step I will see as I move on. But for that time period, my only focus was my books. I spent a lot of time going to the library. One of the remaining libraries which were not touched by the students in Gugulethu, where I come from. And I think looking back, that time spent at the library studying really, really helped me a lot. And also just being focused and telling myself that there has to be something better out there.
All right, and these are qualities that even now valuable for students if they're listening, is that you've just got to remain focused and almost shut out all the things that are happening outside and around you. So a lot of people are probably curious now then, what does a top achiever go on to do? The whole world opened up literally for you after that, didn't it? Because you traveled for your first degree.
So after I did my matric, and I was a top matric student in the Western Cape under the old DET, my life took a fascinating turn. Because I did well, I was privileged enough to get a full scholarship from a US university, purely because of my matric results. And I studied abroad for about 5 years in Massachusetts in the US, and then I came back and I worked in South Africa in various companies. But I think for me, the lessons from all that is that when you apply yourself and you give it your best shot, the possibilities that come from that are immense. You never know what's going to happen.
And also, I guess what's inspiring about your story and many people like you is that it doesn't matter where your story begins. If you work hard, actually you can end up on some of the biggest stages, biggest schools in the world.
Absolutely. And I think that your background does not determine what is possible for you. For me, coming from a township in Gugulethu, ending up in New England, in Massachusetts, studying in one of the best universities in the world, it was unimaginable. And it's all because I applied myself. I was focused in my studies, despite my environment. Because, as I said, I wrote my matric amidst a lot of noise, you know, and I could have been easily distracted. but I chose to focus on something bigger.
All right, so then you came back home. You now have some world experience. What was it like for this Gugulethu girl to come back now to South Africa, having seen a whole world out there?
Wow, I think it was eye-opening to see that there is a world out there. I think for me, what was important was that as a township girl, I was able to see that the world is highly competitive. As a young person in Africa, you are competing globally with young people all over the world. Where I studied in the US, it was a very multicultural environment. We had students from all over the world, and they were all hungry for education. And so when I came back to South Africa, I realized that our young people, our youth, have to step up. The future, the 21st century now, as we see it, it's going to demand a different kinds of skills. Young people who are educated, who are going to be able to adapt to the fourth industrial revolution. Those who have not even begun to achieve a matric certificate are going to have a difficult time. And so for our young people now who are doing their matric, I think by virtue of getting to grade 12, it's already an achievement on its own, because many young people never finish grade 12. They drop out for many reasons. And I think we need to even find out what are those reasons. Why do we have a dropout rate? Why can't we actually make sure that those who begin grade 1, 12 years later are still in the system? Yeah. That is research that needs to be done. So for me, what is important is that young people must finish their schooling, because we are competing with young people from all over the world. I mean, in Africa, other countries, Zimbabwe, Kenya, those young people there, they do the best they can. They are doing well in maths and science, and we have to up it to actually be competitive.
All right, and I guess from those early years, this developed this thirst for knowledge, and this has been a theme in your life. You went on to do an MBA, to do a doctorate in philosophy, public management and development, and now a research fellow at the University of Cape Town. So would you say that that desire for learning was instilled in those high school years, that you carried through right through your life?
I think the quest for learning, the quest for excellence in everything that I did was sort of a theme throughout my career. I think I saw that I had an ability to apply my mind, to focus on my studies, and I was able to even begin to entertain the idea of doing an MBA. At the time that I did my MBA, it was very exclusive. I did my MBA, one of the top universities in the country, which was very male-dominated, the program itself. But because of the confidence that was instilled in me, at university level, also my own confidence, I was able to say to myself, I'm going to apply and see if I can get into this program. And I got in. At the time, I was one of the few women who were doing an MBA program at a top university.
And talking about
and that
women,
also instilled, yes.
Yeah, I was just saying, talking about women, girl children in particular. Back then, there weren't so many young girls that were standing on podiums as top achievers. We're seeing a lot more of it nowadays. But back then, for girl children to be encouraged and to excel wasn't something that you saw all too often.
No, it wasn't. And I think I have to thank my parents for that, especially my late father. I think he believed that as a girl child, I can compete with anyone. And I think it starts from a family perspective. If a girl child comes from a family which is encouraging, which goes beyond gender, where there are no gender roles that are defined to say this is a girl child or this is a boy child. You are all treated equally. Then as a girl, you actually feel that there is nothing that you cannot do.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying that for me, also my background, I came up from where my father put me in front to say, you can do it, you can be the best. And I took that away with me throughout my career.
All right, perhaps as a final word, your hopes and dreams for the class of 2019, they're going to get their results tomorrow. And what do you hope for them for the decades that follow?
I think for the class of 2019, they are going into a new world, a new environment. It's exciting, hey? It's the start of a new decade for them as well. The 21st century is going to bring amazing opportunities for them. Those who are prepared to work hard, the future is theirs. The possibilities are immense. It's all about the individual. What they put in is what they get out. And all I can say to them is that they must just take it with them and reach the highest echelons of their aspirations. The future is in their hands. The possibilities are immense.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations to them and good luck.
That's a wonderful way to end. Thank you so much indeed. Congratulations on a remarkable post-matric career that you've managed to carve out. But I guess that day back in 1991 when your results came out was just the start. And a lot of our kids must realize as well that it's not the end, it's just the beginning. Thank you so much indeed, Dr. Mbava.
Thank you so much, Peter. Thank you.
All right.